Hi friends, welcome back to my booktube channel. If you are new here, my name is Dina and I'm a writer, editor, and poet, and I love to read and talk about books. So today is fun. I've been tagged to do the judging books by their cover tag. I am currently learning and training how to do book cover design, and I've already done a few covers, which has been so exciting. But in learning how to do this skill, I've gained a newfound respect for book covers. Before I started really paying attention to the production of how a book is made, I honestly didn't really spend that much time looking at book covers. If something caught my eye at a bookstore because it was pretty or because it looked cool, then I would pick something up. I don't think I ever not picked up a book or read a book because I didn't like the cover design. I don't really organize my shelves. I only do it by genre and author if I do. So I don't know. I never paid too much attention to book covers, but in preparing for this tag, I had to really think deeply about how I respond to the colors or the typography and the design of covers. And I think I pay a lot more attention than I think I do. That's not to say that I don't think book covers are an important part of the publishing industry. Definitely is, and designing book covers is a real skill that ought to be respected and paid for. But I think that's enough rambling. Let's get into the tag. I have several books for each category, but I wanted to showcase my beautiful books. If you're here, I assume that you like books anyway. If not, that's cool. But the first prompt is the best color combo on a book cover. My friend Katie chose The Friend, as did I. This is by Sigrid Nunez, and I really liked the primary colors in this. It's debated in design whether it's good to have like white text on a color background. I personally like it. I know that a lot of my clients prefer to have black text and it's a lot easier for them to read, but I do like the white text. Did pick it up from a library sale. It does have a pen mark, which is, it gives it character. But this is the first one. The next cover is Mieko Kawakami's Heaven. I really love the pink and green. Yes, it reminds me of Wicked, but I also just love the way that the gold accents the cover. And I don't know, it's just really pretty. I picked this up after reading Breasts and Eggs, which is, I guess, an honorable mention in this category. It's not that it has a really outstanding color combination, but I just really love the pink of that cover. I just really like books that have pink. More pink books. The next one is a simple color again, but it's the Collected Stories of Lydia Davis. I love this coral color. I remember it was so popular when I was in high school in like 2011 when Mac's Party Parrot came out. This is what it reminded me of. I just really like these editions in general. It's by Picador Books, but they're so like chunky and cute. It's like a little burger, but I do love this color. Next category is best typography or font on a book cover. I have this really cool edition of 1Q84 by Haruko Murakami. This is not the edition that I first read. I had a chunky paperback that I have since gotten rid of, I believe. I read it, I think, as it came out, and I picked this up I think at another library sale, and I really liked how the font is done in negative spacing. The dust jacket is sort of translucent, so when you open it you can kind of see the light go through, and then the naked hardback is the inverse of what you see on the dust jacket. I haven't reread this. I don't think I'm going to. This was a collection pickup, but I like having this out on my shelves. It's a nice cover to display. The next one is actually representing a series of books, but I really love the vintage editions of Toni Morrison's books. This is going to go into the simple cover category as well, but I really love the font. I think it's just so beautiful and simply stated. Purple is my favorite color, so this is the one I wanted to showcase. And yeah, I just really love the simple font. I think I'm a simple cover girl. I am usually drawn to covers with maybe like one element in it. These are covers that I like to collect. If something has a really cool design or an illustration, it's a little more complex, I'm not gonna not pick it up. If it draws my eye, then it draws my eye. But I think I am drawn to like a more simple cover. And the next book I wanted to choose for this category is Mooncakes. This is a library book, and I picked it up because it had a cool cover. But the typography has little mooncakes as the O's on the moon. And I haven't started this yet, but I'm really excited to. It has beautiful end pages. I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is also in the end page category. Next prompt is the best simple cover. And like I said, I am a simple cover girly, and I think vintage books really has a hold on me. These editions of Toni Morrison's books I love. I don't have all of them. Some of my editions are from different publishers. I don't really care about having the same editions when it comes to collecting an author's works. But when it happens that I pick up matching editions, it's just like an extra scratch on the brain, feels good. And then I also love this edition of Dostoevsky's Demons. I love the geometric pattern on it, and this is also vintage. I just think it's cool. I don't think it really tells you much about the story. Maybe that it's chaotic and that the characters are, I don't know, pointy. Pointy and sharp. I have several of the vintage classics. I think they have different types of design. So some of them are geometric like this, and then some of them are black and white and just have like the typography. I may be wrong. I have a few of them scattered around the house. But this one's my favorite. I just like the triangles. Another simple cover design. I think I mentioned this in another vlog, but I have too many editions of The Lord of the Rings. This one's my favorite though. They're cool and just so 70s. A cover, it's not really anything besides the typography and then a little illustration. So on Fellowship, it's the Shire. Two Towers is obviously the Towers. And then Return of the King has Mordor. And I just think they're so fun. I did read The Fellowship of the Ring on this edition, but lines are really sensitive because they are so old and they're crackly. So I try not to read these as much. These are my display editions. I have a modern edition of The Lord of the Rings as one book. So when I reread The Return of the King, I'm going to use that edition because I just don't want to damage these any more than I have already. Next prompt is the best end pages. And this one I did struggle with because, as I mentioned before, I don't pay too much attention to the design of the book, which I think I should, because it's a good thing to look at. People put in the work to design the book. So if you want to appreciate the aesthetics of how a book is produced, I think you should. And I think we do need to pay a little more attention to it. For the best end pages, I do have another vintage, like actual vintage, not vintage, the publisher, vintage book. This is John Steinbeck's Travels with Charley. This is one of my favorite books. The end pages just show his journey through the US, and it's a map also, so I guess this counts as part of the next prompt. And this is just really sweet. I know that he started like somewhere in Maine and then he went all the way to California, and I really love how they made use of the end pages to show his journey. This is also really old. This one is a 1962 edition. I did mark this one. I annotated it. I know it's bad, but I like my books to be well loved, but I also have to be careful with them now that they're getting a little older. This is my favorite end page. I also struggled with this one because I do prefer paperbacks to hardbacks. One, they're cheaper, and two, I am a spine breaker. So it's easier to just like flip it over, and it's easier to transport everywhere. So I do have a lot of hardbacks because if it's cheaper to get the hardback, I will get it. Or if a book has just recently come out and I want to read it, I'll just get the first edition. This is the first thing I thought of when I thought of beautiful end pages. The other one I wanted to showcase was Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. This is a YA fantasy. I know that for this one, it's a pretty superior map. I just love the way that it's illustrated, and the design is just so beautiful. It speaks a lot to the story and how it takes place, and it's just a really good way to start reading this, is to look at the map. But yes, I also love like the sketchiness of the map. It is polished, but it was like the strokes of the drawing, which I think is cool. And I guess this also counts as a good end page. Next category is the best naked hardback. And for these, I'm actually currently reading one of them, Biography of X by Catherine Lacey. I just really like when books are published as hardbacks, but without the dust cover. I do not like reading with dust jackets. They're so annoying. So I really like this cloth covered hardback. Borrowed a copy of Pew from the library, and it also has a similar vibe. I really like that. The other naked hardback I wanted to show was World of Wonders by Aimee Nezhukumatathil. Just a beautiful cover in general, but I like that it doesn't have a dust jacket too. It's so beautiful. The next prompt is best back cover. This one I recently finished, but it's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. It uses The Wave by the artist Hokusai, and I love how it's showcased in the front and then also in the back. It also has a wonderful spine. Not much to say. This is just a really stunning cover. I have the Book of the Month edition, so it does have Book of the Year in the cover, which I think is pretty cool. But yes, this is a beautiful back cover. And I also have The Infinite Library and Other Stories. This is a short story collection by Victor Fernando R. Ocampo, and it's published by Math Paper Press, which is a small publisher based in the Philippines. But the illustration in this is just so cool. And then the back, which is why I chose this, has a continuation of the front cover with a little astronaut in the galaxy. I thought it was so stunning. I picked this up at the Filipino Book Festival in San Francisco, and I'm so happy I did because unfortunately we don't have a lot of access to Philippine published books. But if you can get your hands on Math Paper Press, they make really stunning books. And this has French flaps. I don't know what the consensus on French flaps is. I know that I really like them. The advantage of like a flappy cover to mark your spot, but you don't have to worry about an annoying dust jacket. So I'm for French flaps. Another book I wanted to showcase just because I thought it was really cool, Banana Yoshimoto's NP. I don't know if this is the author in the front, but it's just this really cute girl. And then the back is her again, looking back. I thought that was so cool. I love when books have a picture in the front and then there's like a continuation in the back. That really satisfies and scratches my brain. I love 90s editions of books because you showcase like a real face. I just think it's really nice. I don't mind movie covers as long as like it's done artfully. I do have a movie cover of Girl on the Train, which I really like because Emily Blunt's on the cover, and who wouldn't want Emily Blunt to be on their book? The next category is best chapter headers. And for this, I have a recently acquired book that I featured. It's Culture and History by Nick Joaquin. And when I was flipping through this, I realized that each chapter starts with like an illustration of the topic. This one is of a cathedral. And then there's also Santo Niño in front of the chapter with Santo Niño. And I just really like the typesetting in front of this. And then also as the chapter starts, I love when books do this, when they have like the first word or the first letter of the chapter. I forgot what it's called. A friend who's training me in book cover design has told me so many times, but I love when books do that. Next prompt is best illustrations. And for these, I wanted to feature a duology. This is The Rise of Kyoshi and The Shadow of Kyoshi by FCE. These are part of the Avatar The Last Airbender universe and are novels about the Avatar Kyoshi, the Avatar right before Roku, who was right before Aang. But the illustrations in this are just so stunning. I love them so much. think they really represent the action that goes on in these books, because that was one of my favorite parts of reading these novels, is how well FCE captures the action and the comedy and the spirit of Avatar. Artist's name, if you want to look them up, Jung Shan Chang. I believe they did both of these. And I also really like how the spines feature Kyoshi. I love these illustrations so much. They're so wonderful. I have the Dawn of Yangchen hanging around somewhere, which I've not read yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But I think these just really grabbed me, and I was so excited for when they came out, and whenever I look at them, I just get excited all over again. The next prompt is the best spine, and I chose 2 books again that I have not read. But the first one is The Book of the Dead by Orikuchi Shinobu. This is a historical novel. Look at the spine. It's so beautiful. I love the colors. I love how it uses 2 separate designs. Super eye-catching if you see it on a bookshelf. I showcase it in my bookshelves here just because I love seeing it. Next one I wanted to showcase. Okay, I don't really know much about this book, and to be honest, I don't really have any plans to read it soon, but I just really like the cover. This is This House Is Mine by Dirta Hansen. I don't know what it's about. I think it's a historical novel. Please don't get mad at me if this is your favorite book, but I picked this up at the Dollar Tree actually because I really liked the spine. I just really like the branches. And this because it's inspiring me in my own book cover design journey. I love the use of the background and then the silhouette. I just think it's so beautiful. And I just love this cover so much. It's so stunning. Hopefully, one of these days I'll get around to reading it. But for now, I think I'm going to keep this book just as an example of the type of covers that I want to design. The last question is the favorite cover on your shelf. And I have 3. These are recent. So my first one is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. This is a recently published novel by Coco Melors, and I just love the cover of this. It doesn't say who the artist for this cover is, but I will find out and I'll put it in the cards below. I love the muted rose that they use, again, pink. Then I also love how a novel is set in the person's blush. I just think that is such a gorgeous design. This is something that I keep around. 1, because I really enjoyed reading this book, and 2, because it's such a beautiful, simply designed, I believe, cover. Nothing too crazy going on. It's mostly like one photo with text imposed on it, but the use of color and the use of placement is done so effectively. It's a gorgeous design. The next book I wanted to showcase is Scattered All Over the Earth by Yoko Tawada. I read this last year, and I love the gradient. I'm learning how to use the gradient tool in Adobe, and I just really love how the gradient of the background is set against the gradient of the circle and then the hand. It's just so beautiful, and I think it's super effective in representing the story because it's about someone who is displaced from their country. And I think this speaks to that in some way. The gradient continues to the back, so if you flip it over, it makes this stunning design. I just think that's so cool. But I wanted to showcase that as well. Also a really good book. I like this type of design as well, where it's not super something that you can pick out from the plot, but it mostly symbolizes the vibe of the book or the feeling that the book would give the reader. I think that's a really cool way to navigate cover design, is going off of like vibes. Speaking of vibes, this last book is just the vibiest. This is Feast by Ina Carino. This is a recently published poetry collection by Alice James Books. Ina Carino is a Filipinx poet that I very much look up to in the community. I really love the cover design in this. I mean, look at that. It's just so beautiful. So the photography is by Yan Ranchong, and then the photo illustrations are Clarice Provido. Great name, Clarice. But I just think this is so beautiful. I've never seen anything like this. And again, this is something that I want to showcase forever because it's such a beautiful design. I will link all of the books down in the card. This was me judging books by their covers. This is something that I kind of struggled with because, like I said, I'm still learning how to create and appreciate visual designs. So this tag was a really good exercise in finding books that spoke to me visually and learning what about them did that. And also how that informed the way I read them or the way that I interact with them as a reader. So I'm going to tag a few of my friends down below. Please do the tag if you'd like to. And then I also tag you, of course, if you'd like to do the tag. I'd love to know your favorite covers on your shelves. Let's all appreciate book cover design. As I've learned in the past couple of months, it is not easy. It's a journey with each book to try to capture everything that the author is saying in an appealing way that can speak to different types of audiences while being true to the original message. So, book cover design, very important. I don't think it's a shallow thing to pay attention to. Allison Pages mentioned this in their video, but appreciating the design of something, really just paying attention to actual labor and skill and artistry that another person has put into the book. So if anything, we should be paying more attention to it. That's something that I'm going to continue to do in how I read and how I look at books. Thanks for watching my video. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss my next one. And I will see you later. Bye!